player here. That had to be something else.
Between pages 9 and 10, there appears to be some text cut out.
We're currently working on an for all of us since we need to get some good enchants.
On July 10th, Matthew mentions that Andrew and Thomas have an idea to build a town with a castle. Then there's an update on the illness.
There's a little problem though. I'm not really improving in terms of health. My head really hurts and my hands are constantly shaking. And if this keeps getting worse and worse, I'll probably have to take a little break from my computer. I don't know what's causing this exactly, but I'm afraid it might not be a flu anymore. It's been going on for way longer than it usually should.
1 week later, on July 17th, Matthew sees the player again.
He seemed to have a white 03 on his head, while the rest of his skin is fully black.
Matthew has seen an exec in his world. A black skin with a white number is their signature style. But this is the least of the issues. Things are getting worse for Matthew's health. Now, weird red spots are showing up on his skin. Matthew will be going to the doctor soon. In the meantime, he continues to play with his friends.
My friends have no idea what it might be either, which worries me because they also started to become a bit sick. They're not in the same state as me, but they also have a small headache. Is this a coincidence, or is something going on?
July 22nd.
What? The doctors have no idea what this could be. I'm scared. My friends are saying they feel the same things I did 2 weeks ago. Apparently, a lot of teenagers across the world are somehow catching this disease or whatever the it is. I genuinely do not know what's happening.
By this point, Matthew's been sick for over 3 weeks, and his vitality continues to decline. 4 days later, he says he barely has enough energy to play on the computer.
After playing for a few minutes and working on a mob spawner farm, I saw him, the 03 guy. He was just standing there staring at me, and he wasn't moving at all. He sent no messages in chat, but I somehow felt him speaking to me, as if he was speaking to me telepathically. And that's when I connected the dots. This cannot be a creepypasta anymore. He has to know what's happening, and he did this to me. This might sound insane, but I think the disease is being spread among our group, and the fact he just stares at me like that, he knows. I immediately closed my game and shut the server down. I have to tell this to my friends. This cannot be a coincidence.
Bro, my phone freezes every time I open an app.
Bro, you probably have hidden viruses or malware on your phone.
A coincidence.
Sandy opens the August book. Matthew can no longer feel his hands. He has problems breathing, and he has the constant urge to vomit. He says that soon he won't be able to get out of bed. Then something chilling.
My parents are more worried than ever, but something inside of me tells me not to care about, not to talk to them, to not listen to them. But I want to, even though my body refuses to.
Matthew's text is becoming riddled with errors, extra spaces, missing words, misplaced punctuation. He even fails to properly sign his name. His skin grows pale except for the red spots. His mother cries, fearing that Matthew is near death.
As I'm writing this, I feel an indescribable feeling flowing through my body. A mixture of emptiness, sadness, pain, loneliness.
Matthew's words grow even more disordered, bizarre, and incomprehensible.
Beg farewell to shattered bones, bones that shape your interior, bones that make you who you are, bones like the water of a river flowing towards destiny. It's pulling me. It wants me to reach it. It wants me to get closer to it. I don't ever feel my interior emptiness anymore. I don't ever feel anything anymore. My keyboard is pulling me closer to my monitor. He's calling me, whoever he is. In a matter of seconds, you just may find yourself falling, twisting into the abyss, screaming, wishing it didn't end like this. But the inevitable things come and go as they choose, and in the end, you will always lose. So sit back and relax as death swoops you down.
The final entry is from September 13th, 2017.
And now forever I will make part of it, attempting to run from what I can't escape. I can never outrun it. The limbo I'll be stuck in is part of me now. 1 hour, 10 hours, 10 days, 10 years, 10 decades, 10 centuries, 10 billions of years. Forever, I am part of it. I am part of it now. I belong to it now. And it was decided like that from the beginning.
These journals are deeply unsettling. We don't know who Matthew David is, whether he's a player we've already met or someone new. However, there are some similarities to Sandy's story, playing on a multiplayer server and encountering odd players in the world. Notably, Exec03 is the same exec who talked to Sandy in the meeting video. But much more concerning is the fact that Matthew has some sort of disease. It starts as a headache but worsens over the course of about 10 weeks. Doctors can't diagnose what's happening, and the text suggests that this is afflicting other people as well. Matthew believes that this is connected to Execo 3. As time passes, Matthew's text becomes increasingly poetic, dark, and jumbled. He describes a deep emptiness inside of him and a feeling of being called towards his computer monitor. The final pages are extremely cryptic. It's unclear if Matthew is alive or dead. Sandy returns the books to the chest. He turns around to see Cargo standing in the room.
Hey man. Cargo, how are you here? I was looking for you. I don't think we should be here.
Something about Cargo is off. His text is overly formal, with punctuation and capitalization, a very different style from his earlier messages. Sandy instinctively knows that something is wrong. This can't be Cargo. Sandy begins to flee. Then Cargo continues.
Sandy, come back. We can talk about this.
As Sandy runs into the mine, we get one final message.
You will regret this moment. You will always be the mistake known for ruining everything.
The following video is from a new perspective, someone with a reddish skin and no number above the hotbar. When they type, we learn that this is someone named Architect. The conversation is one-sided. However, the title of this video is Recepteur, French for receiver. Could this be the other half of Execo 9's conversation? Watching the videos together, the chat messages align, revealing the full discussion. We learn that the Architect is disappointed in the execs. To keep Sandy out, all they had to do was lock the world. Ultimately, Architect tells the execs to figure it out on their own. Apparently, there are 64 of them in total. Architect walks away from the terminal, leaving Execo 9 talking to the void. The description of this video contains text that's almost readable, like a Markov chain of disparate syllables. There are 16 lines, the same number found in the Envoyer description. It turns out that this is a code. By counting out the indicated position of a letter, we can find the first character. Repeating this for each line reveals the message.
Body lacking a soul.
Although this is enigmatic, there's a subtle connection to Matthew David's journals. As his disease progresses, he describes a feeling of becoming empty inside. There's another link as well. The name of the chest is Stored Vessel Information. A vessel is a hollow container, also empty inside. It's noteworthy that we've seen this concept a few times. The following video returns to Execo 9's perspective, picking up right after their conversation with Architect. Another exec shows up. This time it's number 22. 9 says that the Architect wants all of the execs to work on the bugs relating to Sandy. They say that they need to shut down some of the worlds. Execo 9 opens up the terminal and enters a numerical code, the same as the title of the book in their inventory. Access is granted. On the main menu, 9 selects the Players option. This shows a list of dies, each representing a different player. When the cursor hovers over one, it reveals more information. Sandy's location is undefined and his capability is sentient. Zyphoid and Serene Mist are both in the 8389 world, and their capability is Thinking Mind. Finally, there are many other players who we haven't seen before, all of whom have their capability as Vessel. Vessel. There's another connection to that word. Most players on this list are vessels, marked with a gray icon, contrasting with the 3 colored players. This suggests a progression in capabilities from Vessel to Thinking Mind to Sentient. So how did Sandy progress from Vessel to Thinking Mind? The description offers a few clues.
Execo 3 found a critical flaw in the system of the universe of the Decayed. Somehow, vessels, when stimulated in some weird way, have the capability of escaping their supposed trajectories and finding oddities that they were not supposed to find, such as the map being unfinished in certain areas, invisible platforms that allow teleportation between worlds, and a lot more.
In other words, we don't know for sure, and it seems like the execs don't know either. The description continues.
Do you know how Sandy managed to gain consciousness? No, I really don't. Definitely a flaw in the system. I make sure to wipe everyone's memories before they enter this universe, and I'm not quite sure what escaped their hands.
You can't control what you can't see. With near real-time cash visibility and forecasting, JP Morgan delivers the clarity you need to optimize your cash flow. JP Morgan.
The government is banning these $29 adaptive glasses next month, and this is your last shot to get the original military-grade version. There's a new next-gen vision system out there, and it's the most brutal one you'll ever own. But here's the bad news.
But now, we see that Sandy isn't just a thinking mind, he's been elevated to sentience. In fact, it seems that the execs were afraid of this happening. In the meeting video, Execo 3 mentions that Sandy has become a thinking mind. They don't want him in the unstable world because it might trigger something within him. However, Sandy does teleport there. In Execo 9's discussion with the architect, we learn that Sandy found out about the real house and now knows too much. Then, in this video, we see that Sandy is sentient. We now understand that the real house refers to the house in the unstable world. When Sandy found it, something promoted him from thinking mind to sentient. Could it be the journals? It's been mentioned a few times that Sandy's memory has been wiped. Perhaps reading Matthew's story somehow reminded him of the past. The specific details are still a mystery. The core point, however, is that Sandy has steadily progressed along the chain from vessel to thinking mind to sentient. And now, other players are on that path as well. Xiphoid and Serene Mist are thinking minds. They've escaped their supposed trajectories, breaking free of the loop. And it seems that this happens when Sandy has a conversation with them. Sandy is spreading the ability to think to others. All of this represents a problem for the execs, who are trying to get the players under control. Back in the video, Execo 9 right-clicks on the 3 players' icons, reporting them to the architect. Then 9 goes back to the main menu and selects Worlds, then World Management. The top block is the 1919 world, the unstable one with the real house. The exec changes the join permission from admin to none. They perform an attempted teleportation to confirm the world has been locked. In the back, exec 13 appears and asks if 09 turned off access to the real house world. 9 confirms that they did. Then they return to the terminal and choose a different option, global cameras. We see a list of lilac items. Hovering over one shows that this represents Sightseer, currently in Xiphoid's world. And suddenly, we understand the purpose of these dark figures. They're cameras into the experiment. The execs can see the camera feed from the terminal. As 09 starts watching, we see Serene Mist come up and look at Sightseer. They stare for an uncomfortably long time. The audio is quite weird, and fans of my other ARG videos know that this means it's time to look at it in a spectrogram. This tool allows us to see frequencies in sounds. The x-axis represents time, and the y-axis is frequency. The higher the sound's pitch, the higher it is on the chart. For example, an ascending major scale would appear as a series of steps going upwards. Looking at the camera audio, we discover a secret message hidden within.
Ying in my bed, unable to move. I can't get up. I can't even blink. Everything hurt.
The words feel similar to the text in Matthew David's journal, although this specific quote is nowhere to be found. Could these be the words of Serene Mist instead? Execo 9 leaves the camera and encounters Execo 5. He asks what they're supposed to be doing, and 9 says that they're investigating Sandy. When he hears that, 05 says that he's gotta go and runs off. The chat shows that he's warped to the unstable world. 9 returns to the terminal to find that the teleportation permissions have reset. Apparently, Execo 5 just changed it back. Confused, 9 talks to Exec 35, who says that locking the real house world doesn't work for them either. Then 9 follows 5 to the unstable world. They run to the house and enter the basement, but things are beginning to change. Blocks are replaced with solid colors, some rooms completely consumed. 9 descends into the big tunnel and then the narrow one. He finds Execo 5 taking Matthew David's diaries out of the chest, destroying them in a lava pit. When he sees that 9 is there, 05 punches him and flees back into the tunnels. After a few moments, the chat shows that 5 is warped to an unrecognized map. The video cuts to a white world with a table. Execo 5 walks up and looks around. This must be the unrecognized map. We don't know why, but apparently 05 is concerned that the other execs are investigating Sandy. There is one more clue that I need to mention. The description contains a question.
Where is cargo?
The response is a jumbled mess of letters. These are encoded using a scheme known as Base 64. Upon decryption, we can find the answer to cargo's whereabouts.
He is gone. Forever. Never to be seen again. Nothing more than a memory.
The next video is entitled Disposal, and it returns to Sandy's perspective. He finds himself falling down a long shaft before landing on a tree. His friends are nowhere to be seen. Sandy explores this new place. The layout is large and confusing, with many rooms and barred windows. There are several paintings scattered throughout. a lilac, a landscape, a white world, limbo. One was particularly notable. It has a painting of the real house, and if we look carefully, the layout of the room itself is similar to the house's interior. This includes the stairs to the basement, but this version overlooks the void. As Sandy continues to wander, it becomes apparent that this place couldn't actually exist. The space doesn't operate logically. This is perhaps most noticeable when Sandy enters a hallway that contains a jukebox. Sandy takes the stairs and loops around, ending up at the jukebox again. But that shouldn't be possible. Where's the entrance that Sandy used? This looping path is what's known as non-Euclidean. Normal geometric rules about space and distance don't apply here. Suddenly, the jukebox begins playing a song, Ward by C418. Sandy returns and punches it, causing the block to disappear. This action changes the configuration of the room again. Instead of ascending stairs to the right, there are now descending stairs going into a long tunnel. Sandy follows it and ends up under the tree in the main courtyard. He turns around. When he looks back, the tunnel is gone. Sandy goes to the redstone lamps and switches the first off and the third on. As he wanders more, he ends up on the other side of the wall. But something's wrong. The lights are incorrect. The pattern doesn't match what it should on the other end. Did someone flip the switches? Sandy walks towards the edge of the world and this video ends.
Amazing brand new Necrosis Summoner Hero is here.
And this video ends. The following video picks up right here. Sandy continues to meander until he finds a lever labeled Emergency Switch. As he contemplates what to do, we hear footsteps in the background. Sandy quickly pulls the lever and the world cuts to black. Suddenly, Sandy is in the unrecognized map. We see Execo 5 with the table in the distance, and we learn something interesting.
I see you have found the emergency switch. I have a lot to tell you, Andrew.
Sandy's real name is Andrew, the same Andrew mentioned in Matthew's journal. Furthermore, Execo 5 reveals that his name is Thomas, another player from the SMP. This leaves just one remaining player, Matthew, who must be Cargo. The journal we read belonged to Cargo, who was the first to contract this mysterious disease. Execo 5, or Thomas, gives us the most complete explanation so far. A few years ago, there was some weird sickness that appeared. It infected Matthew, Cargo, and Andrew, Sandy. Thomas says that people who are afflicted by the illness are called vessels. These vessels are forced to play the same few minutes over and over. Sandy, Cargo, Serene Mist, Xiphoid, all of them fall into this category. Vessels aren't actually the people with the sickness. Instead, they're kind of like ghosts who control the lifeless bodies, their consciousness scattered across different worlds. Loops and vessels all exist in a multiverse called the Concept. Execs are the ones who manage it, and Thomas was hired as one. The execs work for the architect, who is the creator of the worlds in the Concept. The execs watch the experiments. If a vessel gains consciousness, they put a camera in the world to monitor it. This is why Andrew, or Sandy, saw Voyeur in his world. His growing consciousness triggered the execs to intervene. When Execo 9 saw that Andrew was sentient, he alerted the architect, who teleported Andrew to the disposal. This is a place where vessels who have become sentient are sent to be removed. However, Thomas anticipated this and opened the door to the emergency switch, allowing Andrew to escape. Despite this explanation, some questions remain unanswered. What is the connection between a physical human and a vessel in Minecraft? Does the consciousness of the person somehow get trapped within the game? Matthew's journal seems to hint at this. He says something is pulling him, calling him, and then later says that he's a part of it now, whatever it is. In some bizarre way, the end result of the physical illness might mean getting sucked into the Concept. The role of the execs is somewhat unclear. They focus on preventing vessels from becoming sentient, but the reason for this isn't obvious. Why is it better for vessels to be trapped in their looping worlds? It's also a bit strange that the architect constructed the worlds in which the vessels are trapped. Thomas says that a symptom of the sickness is being forced to replay the same few minutes over and over again. But how could this happen without the architect creating the worlds for the vessels to loop? Could the illness even exist without the Concept? And this raises a crucial question. If the architect designed the looping worlds, did he also create the disease? Where would vessels go if there was no Concept? It's also worth mentioning that each world in the multiverse is labeled as experiment. That feels a little bit more like these vessels were created intentionally. Right now, we don't have a great answer to these questions. Thomas's story feels incomplete, like we aren't being told everything. Regardless, Thomas continues, telling Andrew what he needs to do.
If you want Matthew back, you need to go back to your loop. I will enable Matthew to possess Voyeur. Voyeur will be out of order and replaced with Matthew's vessel. From there on out, it's on you. You know how to get out. You know how to get to the limbo. That's the key place you can go to get out. You might need to find Architect. He might seem intimidating at first, but he's really not. If you could talk to him, you might be able to escape. He's the one who puts you in this situation, so he can take you out of it.
It's strange that Thomas suggests that Matthew and Andrew might need to talk to the Architect, since the Architect is upset that Andrew is sentient. However, Andrew says that he trusts Thomas. He pushes a button and he is teleported to the main world. Everything seems to be back to normal. Cargo's chest and bed have returned, and the basement is back in its original state. Andrew sees Voyeur on the hill and approaches him. The possession has apparently worked. Voyeur now speaks as Matthew. He says that he knows Andrew and that he remembers the house. Andrew tells him that the dark figures he saw in his journal were real, and that they're the reason for all of this. Andrew has been trapped in a loop without realizing it. But in the following video, things take a turn. It's called A Message to You. It's from Architect, and it's addressed to us, the viewers of this channel. Hello, this is Architect speaking. I'm sure you know who I am, viewer. I seriously discourage you from further watching the content on this YouTube channel. Alright, that's it, I guess. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Nah, just kidding. Let's continue. Everything you have seen so far is a mere act of fiction. I don't know who is in charge of uploading all of these videos, but I am unable to remove the content from it. This is not what the concept is about. These videos are fabricated, and their only intention is to make you believe them, to make it look like I'm the bad person here. Keep that in mind if you do want to continue watching. Do not believe anything posted here. Farewell. This message forces us to consider something we hadn't really thought about. Who is uploading these videos anyways? Let's poke around the channel itself to look for clues. The profile picture is a collage of a few images put together, one of which is X-Echo5 in his world. But there are other things too, such as a tree and a lilac bush. Portions of the image have inverted colors. We can fix this using the power of editing. Nonetheless, we can't quite understand everything in this image. Another place to look is the channel description, which contains a poem of sorts.
Doing and doing and doing without a reason, without a consciousness, without a change, without an end. Is there ever a day we will see the end of the tunnel? Or will we just remain, watching life walk right past us?
In one sense, this poem is probably referring to vessels, the players who are trapped and forced to replay their world again and again. But if we take a step back, it feels like this poem could be a commentary on life itself. We repeat our routines over and over, endlessly going through the motions, doing and doing and doing. And in this process, there are things missing, without reason, without consciousness, without change, without an end. These without suggest that there's a void within us. The unending monotony of routine leads to emptiness inside. The poem concludes with a powerful question. Will we ever be able to escape this loop? Can we fill the void by being conscious, by thinking and reasoning, by changing? Or will we continue doing and doing and doing forever, watching as life passes us by? This poem is thought-provoking, and it opens the door to an idea that maybe there's a deeper symbolism within this series. Do these vessels somehow represent us, trapped within our own loops? If this interpretation is correct, then who are the execs who manage the loops? When Matthew escapes and becomes sentient, the execs try to put him back. They would prefer it if he was looping forever. Who wouldn't want us thinking for ourselves? Despite these new possible interpretations, we still haven't quite found who is uploading the content on this channel. However, previous descriptions do seem to suggest that whoever it may be is active in the world and is able to affect it.
He somehow found his way out of his world. I have to talk to him.
But the uploader also talks to us, the viewer. In the description of the message video, we find a simple command.
Keep watching.
So that's what we'll do. The next video continues with Matthew and Andrew, showing Matthew's perspective as voyeur. The two are in limbo and Andrew leads them to the 8389 world. Sandy tells Cargo to use the TP down command, though it's again unclear how Sandy knows about this. On the surface, they meet up with Serene Mist. She says that she doesn't know where Xiphoid is. Andrew asks if Serene is aware of the execs, but she says that she isn't. Although Andrew tries to explain the situation, Serene doesn't understand. Nonetheless, she does agree to go with them to Limbo. They tower up to the button and press it to warp. Upon arrival, the players realize that Matthew now has his old username Cargo Ships, not Voyeur. His skin is apparently half him and half Voyeur, although this is not visible from the first-person perspective. Andrew brings the group to the unstable world and they teleport. The real house is even further decayed, with colored blocks spreading to the exterior. They notice a spectator camera watching them, but there's nothing the players can do about it. Inside, the basement is missing furniture and lights. They descend into the tunnel, heading to the chest room, but the diaries are missing, destroyed by Thomas. Andrew reacts with confusion. They decide to head back up to the surface. But when the group reaches the basement, Thomas is there. He says he's here to report on the world status, but it's an excuse to meet up with the other players. Thomas admits to burning the diaries, but doesn't explain why. Instead, he tells the group that they need to return to Limbo.
There's something for you if you jump into the void. You'll appear in a different place, but it's odd. No, it's simply a back door arc-added in case you fell down.
He then says something unusual. Once the players get back, they'll be able to see the diaries for themselves. Thomas teleports the group to Limbo once again. They approach the edge of the void. As they debate who should jump first, someone punches Matthew, and he falls. The following video is entitled Abgrund, which is German for abyss. The description includes a few German words. A quick Google search reveals that this is an excerpt from a poem by Wilhelm Busch, a 19th century poet. It is entitled Impending Doom. Let's read a translation.
The flies are having a fun, airy dance. The frog thinks, cheer up, you'll come down soon enough.
The poem is quite foreboding. So too is Abgrund. It's extremely dark. We'll notice that Matthew's cursor is changed to a star symbol. The players wander around this place for a few minutes, encountering arches and dilapidated structures. After a while, Matthew talks for the first time.
We've been walking for so long, this place freaks me out.
Andrew attempts to reassure him.
Don't worry, we'll find it eventually. He wouldn't just send us here to die.
The players find another building and enter it. Matthew sees a doorway. He decides to go through it. There's something very strange on the other end, his house suspended in a dark void. The next video is called Loss of Control, and it returns to the world of the architect. Now we can see that there's a red side and a blue side. There's a group of 7 players sitting around a table. The blue side has founder, creator, shaper, and instigator, and the red side has author, inventor, and originator. Architect shows up late to the red side and is promptly called out by originator. You took your time. The purpose of this meeting is to discuss issues in Architect's worlds. Creator says that the anomalies were located in his quadrant. Architect says that he's fully aware and is taking care of it, but author and founder disagree.
You don't seem to be as aware as we'd hope.
Founder then says that they've received signals from the Abyss.
The vessel you call Sandy Carp's 8 along with cargo ships and Serene Mist. All 3 were caught by one of our execs, the Outcast.
Architect dismisses their concerns. The Abyss is a barren wasteland. There's nothing they can do. But Instigator says that Architect is wrong, mentioning that recent data shows that Sandy has been separated. Now he's in a place called Grinsen. This is German for borders. Creator says this means they're getting closer.
What do you think happens when they reach the last layer?
Then Author turns up the heat on Architect. If you don't send your workers to capture them, then well, I'm sure you can figure that last part out. Don't make us have to interfere is what I'm trying to say. Architect says he'll get them and leaves. This sequence is really interesting for a few reasons. First, we learn that Architect works with people besides just the execs. He's not an all-powerful being. Instead, he has to answer for his failures. And it seems like he's actually pretty bad at his job. During the conversations, it's repeatedly shown that he doesn't really understand the situation very well. The others seem to think that it's a much bigger deal than he does. We also learn that there are both red and blue people here, and they're presumably on the same team. However, their roles and purpose remain unclear.
This Father's Day, spend more time with Dad by spending less with low prices guaranteed. Give him more of what he loves: grills, smart home tech, and tools to build memories together. Give more and do more this Father's Day at the Home Depot.
You're leaving money on the table. Not because your content isn't good, but because the tools you're using weren't built to help you earn.
That we have, Exec 111, and that we are. But we're not done yet. 111 says that Andrew probably... We now know that the place Andrew ended up is called Grinzen. We see it firsthand as the video continues, now back to Andrew's perspective. He's in the house, the exterior is pitch black. Andrew enters the basement. When he comes back up, he notices that there is now a castle in the distance. Andrew explores it for a while. On the outside edge, there's a trapdoor with a ladder leading down into the blackness. As Andrew descends, he cries out,
Where is it? Thomas, I thought you were helping me. Thomas.
Then the video ends. In the following episode, we switch to the perspective of Serene and Matthew, who have been waiting for Andrew's return. In the distance, a figure approaches. Their name is Exec 111, and they have white skin with black numbers. 111 says that he doesn't work with them.
Abgrund, as you can probably tell, imitates the bottom of the ocean. The abyss is a layered network. It's beneath the entirety of the concept.
Then an astute observation.
You've probably been through a bunch of dialogue already. I'm sure you're quite tired of it.
That we have, Exec 111, and that we are. But we're not done yet. 111 says that Andrew probably went to Grinzen, which is the next layer of the network.
It can be accessed in a multitude of ways. However, the path your friend took is incredibly risky.
There is a safer route. By going to the flat area in the distance, they can reach a main location. They'll know because there are a bunch of towers scattered around. The players leave on their journey. The following video is called Grinzen. It picks up with the duo seemingly close to their destination. In the distance, they spot several dark towers. Each player explores one, but both come up empty. They then head to a much larger central tower. Inside is a hole. They debate if they should jump in and decide that it's the only path. They do a countdown and take the leap. The screen goes to black. The following video is entitled Exec Footage Confrontation. This video takes place from Exec 05's perspective. Recall that this is Thomas, one of Matthew's friends from the SMP. Thomas is in his personal world, but he soon teleports to Limbo using a command. When he arrives, he stumbles across Architect, who was previously sent here to handle the anomalies in his quadrant. The conversation between the two quickly turns combative.
Well, I already know what you've been up to. Shut up, you know this place is sick. Even she wouldn't control to the extent that you do.
We don't know who this mysterious she character is. Perhaps it's the same she that called the meeting to keep Architect accountable. Whoever she is, the mention of her makes Architect extremely upset.
You don't have to bring her into the conversation. Listen, if you try that again, I will end you.
But Thomas has had enough of working for Architect, and his anger boils over.
They're my friends, Ark. You locked my friends into this twisted place, you and the other keepers. I understand that, though you signed everything that was handed to you.
Thomas fires back and then jumps off the edge of Limbo. We've just learned the name of the people that Architect works with. They're called Keepers. These are the red and blue figures from the Loss of Control video, the ones that sent Architect here to deal with Andrew. In fact, the description of this video is a transcript of one of their conversations. The Keepers discuss Architect's continued incompetence.
Has he done anything even remotely productive since we last checked up on him? From what I recall, no. He seems to only be doing this because we talked to him. That is quite embarrassing, honestly. I don't think she'd take kindly to that.
The context clues seem to suggest that the woman is the leader of the Keepers. We'll have to keep an eye out for her moving forward. The penultimate video of the Decade is called One of Those Days. This video is, well, let's just take a look. As the footage begins, we'll notice that it's set somewhere we have not seen before, a rainy street. The sky is dull and gray and there is no background music. Later, we will see that this street is next to a Walmart with a parking lot behind. A pair of Minecraft players walk up to the bench and sit down. The players' names are Andrew and Matthew, but this is actually really strange because these are their actual names, not their usernames Sandy Carps and Cargo Ships. Their skins are different too. They look realistic, unlike the skins we've seen thus far. Matthew and Andrew begin to have a conversation with one another.
School is so tiring sometimes, and to think that we are just a few months from going to college, it kinda creeps me out. Same.
The characters talk as they would in real life. They don't mention Minecraft a single time. It isn't long until the conversation moves in a more contemplative direction.
The rain is messing with my eyes. It's kinda relaxing to just stare into nothing. It makes me think, actually. Like, what purpose do we even have? What goal are we supposed to achieve? And why is it just taken away from you when you die? It's really cruel.
But Andrew responds with a positive outlook.
But it's worth it. Like, even if nothing matters, even if nothing would change if I'd never even existed, at least I get to live. At least I get to meet people like you. At least I can have friends or people who understand me, who acknowledge how truly this world is. And the fact that we might never meet again after school ends, it makes me really sad.
Then Andrew says something impactful.
Never once did I think to leave you behind, Matthew.
Matthew responds.
We have our ups and downs, and that's fine, honestly.
Then Andrew needs to go. The video finishes with him saying that he wants to see Matthew again soon.
Don't check the price, or you might buy 3.
Wow, this thing is insane. It must be very expensive, right?
Guess how much this bike costs?
$900?
Nope, not even close. This beast has a powerful 749.
In some ways, this video is the most difficult one to interpret that we've seen so far. Let's try and understand what we've seen. First, let's figure out the timing. It appears that neither Matthew nor Andrew have contracted the disease. Their conversations are lucid and normal. This suggests that the video occurs before the events in Matthew's journal. The players have yet to start their SMP at this point. This naturally leads us to ask how this video even exists at all. It's almost as if we're seeing a real-life conversation, but through the lens of a Minecraft world. It's an interesting inversion. To this point, the disease has taken real-life people and put them into Minecraft. But here, Minecraft has come to the real world instead. The topic of the conversation is notable. The two friends wrestle with the purpose of existence, the classic question of the meaning of life. This quandary has been referenced previously. Recall that the channel description contains a poem exploring some of the same ideas.
Doing and doing and doing without a reason, without a consciousness, without a change, without an end. Is there ever a day we will see the end of the tunnel, or will we just remain, watching life walk right past us?
But now the poem has changed. There are additional lines that didn't previously exist.
Feeling the wind hit our face, letting the rain pour all over us. Like the grains of sand we are, placed by destiny, where we will forever stay. Like a flower that never bloomed. MD.
And we discover that this poem is written by Matthew. This poem has many of the same ideas that he mentions in his conversation with Andrew, a struggle with the perceived meaninglessness of existence. What's interesting here is that Matthew will be forced to confront these questions head-on, as he will be the first of the friend group to fully succumb to the disease, becoming trapped in a loop. Matthew will be the one who is doing and doing and doing without consciousness. On the flip side, Andrew will also get trapped, but he'll find a way to become sentient and escape it. We still don't know how he did this, but perhaps his positive outlook on life had something to do with it. There is one further detail to mention. One of the signs has an arrow pointing to Navidson High School. This name is noteworthy for its connection to the book House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. The work follows a fictional documentary entitled The Navidson Record. The book's format is complex and difficult, and while I haven't read enough of it to interpret the connection, I felt it was worth mentioning nonetheless. The following video is called Les Fleurs, which is French for The Flowers. This is the final video of The Decade. It opens with a rapid sequence of 7 distorted shots, a real-life photograph of purple flowers, an image from the previous video, Execo 5's White World, the courtyard from the disposal, an experiment door in Limbo, the real house, and a physical journal. The reason for this specific sequence of images is unclear. The footage then switches to the perspective of Matthew. Now it is his turn to enter Grinzen. Andrew is nowhere to be seen, and neither is Serene Mist, even though they both entered the pit simultaneously. Grinzen is similar to what we've seen so far, except that there are even more structures from the player's SMP. For example, Thomas's house is present,
just like I remembered it.
We then jump to Thomas's perspective. Since he jumped off of Limbo, he is now in Abgrund. Exec 111 is there and asks what's happening. Thomas has a dour response.
Everything is going downhill.
Thomas enters a door in a cave and he sees the table and chairs from his world. The background is completely black, the signature aesthetic of Grinzen. Interestingly, every player that ends up here sees something slightly different. Andrew, Thomas, and Matthew are apparently in different places. This is made clear when Thomas turns around and breaks the black blocks of the wall, revealing a marble pathway. And we find that Grinzen is not one singular space. Instead, there are multiple possible rooms, each encompassing a pitch-black area. Matthew is currently in one of these rooms. The perspective shifts back to him and he sees Thomas break in.
Matthew, hurry up. We gotta go right now.
Matthew responds with confusion.
WTF? You just broke the void. Yes, that's all an illusion. We have to get out of here now.
Matthew is worried about Serene Mist, who is probably in her own Grinzen room. Thomas says that they have to leave her behind for now. The two players jump off the platform. The video switches to the perspective of Andrew. He is no longer in Grinzen. Instead, he roams a large field of flowers. It is nighttime, and the sky is adorned with a blocky aurora. Andrew wanders around until he finds a lone tree, standing in stark contrast to the flat landscape beyond. After a few moments, Thomas and Matthew appear, and for the first time in the series, the entire group has been reunited. All the players from the SMP are here, together, in this field of flowers. But their time to catch up is cut short with the sudden arrival of Architect.
Taking some time off, aren't you? Anomalies, frauds, they're synonymous, really.
For the first time, Architect has come face to face with Andrew, the anomaly he's been trying and failing to control.
Assuming you're the higher up here, what makes you think that what you're doing is okay?
What makes you believe that you can question my decisions? I mean, Sandy, you're the first of the anomalies. You've been through it all, haven't you?
Andrew responds with an accusatory question.
Don't you think it's a little bit unfair that you get to decide what happens to us for the rest of our lives? Maybe you aren't even the one in charge. You act as a puppet in the actual grand scheme of things. You don't let us fulfill our own destiny. Do you really think that you're a god?
That's enough. Being one of the keepers, it is my duty to contain you all here.
However, Thomas has worked directly under Architect, and he knows what we've all seen. Architect is the one who is truly the fraud.
And what if the keepers see you as weak? From what I can tell, all you've done is sit back and watch as everything unfolds.
Thomas, don't you dare. The keepers, they respect me. I respect them. My intentions are clear. I wish to contain the vessels within their respective worlds. I asked you this earlier, didn't I? You, being an exec, it's your job to listen to my orders.
But Thomas begins to taunt Ark, asking if it was bothersome when he disobeyed the orders so shamelessly.
It's pathetic. All these questions about what do I gain from this? What do you gain from this? You've gone all this way only to disobey me, to disobey her.
There's another reference to the mysterious female character, the same one Ark said not to bring up. Thomas promptly calls him out for this. Then Andrew interjects.
Tell me, how powerful are you really? Are you truly the powerful being you make yourself out to be? Or is it a facade?
Sandy.
You don't even dare use my real name. Are you this afraid of me? Do you know that I've gained a large amount of control?
Back off.
Or were you too afraid so you ignored it? You are weak.
Something strange has just happened. When we return, we are now viewing the world from Matthew's perspective. Architect is gone. The players react with confusion. Andrew asks Thomas about the back door, the reason they came down here. But Thomas admits that he doesn't know if it really exists. This was just a blind guess. The players are trapped here. The one positive is that without Architect to lead them, the execs are no longer a threat to the players. Then Matthew begins to stare at the moon. The players cease talking as if in a trance. After a few moments, they continue.
Is that just me? I know what you're talking about. I feel it too. She's coming.
A figure has appeared by the tree. She begins to talk.
I must say, it is quite unexpected to see you here. My name is Jacinthe. I am the caretaker. Having visitors is not something you see every day.
Thomas responds.
I never thought this would happen.
Thomas, dear, I do not show myself. You know that, yes?
Jacinthe says that she is the caretaker. This must be the character referenced by Architect, the one who called the meeting of the keepers. Having worked for Architect, Thomas knows who she is. He asks why she's here.
Well, a vessel eliminating a keeper. Fascinating, isn't it?
It is, but like how? Isn't that impossible?
Not necessarily. Andrew may be powerful, but this is new. My vision has always been to maintain peace within the concept.
Jacinthe is the creator of the concept, not Architect. We soon learn more.
My intentions were never to cause harm. That you can blame on the keepers. Though creating such an extravagant multiverse, it can be difficult to keep a proper structure. It's a shame it had to end up like this.
And for the first time, we discover the true purpose of the concept's multiverse. It was not intended to serve as a prison, but rather a safe haven, a place to put the infected in order to keep their spirit alive. These experiments are not supposed to be traps, they're supposed to be safe houses.
Your assumptions are accurate. Though the impossibility of my vision is something I never considered. Your actions provoked something in me. That impossibility has been acknowledged. The very idea behind it all. It is beautifully dissonant. Each flower you see around us is a representation of the vessels within this very multiverse. After having cared for them for so long, it is not something I can let go of. This tree you see before me, it is what gives life to these vessels. Or, in simpler words, this tree represents the entirety of the concept, branching in all sorts of ways, the root of everything.
However, Andrew has actually been a vessel in the concept, and he responds, asking why Jacinthe can't just let them go. But Jacinthe doesn't know.
It is beyond me, caring for the vessels, the residents, anyone within the regions of this place.
Andrew continues.
There has to be a way. We can't just stay here forever. It's like hell.
I'm sorry, Andrew. Unfortunately, there is no way to free the vessels.
Then a proposition from Andrew.
Is there a way to destroy the concept?
What? What are you implying?
If we can't be freed, then I'd rather let everyone's souls rest. This is not our destiny. This is not what we all deserve.
Jacinthe doesn't answer.
I cannot continue this. It breaks my heart seeing your distress. I will leave you here. I wish you the best.
But before she leaves, Matthew calls to Jacinthe once more.
Jacinthe, wait. I'm sorry.
Don't be. It is only fair. I will leave you to it.
Jacinthe is gone. The players discuss what to do next. Andrew says that he has an idea.
A sacrifice. Don't you dare, Andrew. It's the only way, letting the vessels rest. This is what she would have wanted, truth be told. She's too attached and is unable to let go, though.
Matthew pleads with Andrew, but he is unswayed.
Andrew, it's not worth it. It is. Letting everyone be locked in this prison of endless torment. As I said, it's torture. This is the best option, guys. It was a great ride.
Andrew continues despite Matthew's objection.
I know it hurts, but think about what I'm truly doing. No loop will ever have to play again. No exec will ever be in the hands of a higher-up. And while we aren't free anymore, nor will we ever be in any possible world, at least we once were.
Thomas accepts Andrew's decision.
We will miss you, Andrew. I'll miss you guys too. Though not the best way to go, this will be my goodbye. I hope to see you again soon.
The screen cuts to black. When we return, the camera is now in a third-person view. Andrew is gone, and apparently so is the tree. This leaves only Matthew and Thomas, who walk through the flowers. They talk about how nice this place is. But this peace is only temporary. We watch the sky become pale as the concept begins to collapse. The players start to run. A whooshing sound accompanies the increasingly foggy world. It brightens and brightens, and then things just have to come to an end sometimes, nearly paramount to growth despite the loss. Everyone has a destiny. Some find it sooner than others, some later on. Though some may try to force their vision of your destiny upon you, in the end it's only your own that prevails. Things are tough in this world. Nobody ever wants to lose someone close to them. We've seen it countless times. It ends up okay. At least, that's what we hope. When your fate is sealed, eventually you have to accept it. It might be difficult at first, but you will have to. I'm sorry, we all are, but it's reality. You may hope to see each other again, maybe one day. But for now, it's goodbye.
Oh, we're against real people now. Great. I think I missed that memo. Why can't I just say go? Because we're waiting on someone else as well. Right, this is real people and I'm already losing. Wonderful. Fine. My first battle I'm gonna lose? Guys. Magic chess noob right here. Don't judge me too hard. I didn't realize we were going against real people. Fail.
This is the end of The Decade. And, well, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's dive right in. We'll begin with an overview of the story. I'll use this little icon here to indicate the original video of the footage that is on screen. That way, it will be easy for you to go back and see the evidence that I'm discussing if you wish. The core element of The Decade is a mysterious illness that appeared in 2017. This disease is especially prevalent among teenagers. When infected, the victim suffers increasingly brutal physical afflictions, red spots on their skin, extreme fatigue, nausea. Yet these issues pale in comparison to the mental deterioration that also occurs. An infected person becomes decreasingly capable of coherent thought, replaced with the mysterious urge to abandon reality and enter the void of Minecraft. Eventually, an infected person succumbs completely and their consciousness is somehow transferred into Minecraft itself. When this happens, the player enters an experiment within a multiverse called the Concept. Here, the player is forced to replay the same few minutes of gameplay over and over forever. The Concept is created by someone named Jacinth. She is the boss of several keepers, each of whom is responsible for several experiments. These keepers are split into a red side and a blue side. The mixture of the colors makes purple, the color of Jacinth. Architect is a red keeper, and he watches over Matthew's world. Every keeper has a team of execs working for them. These execs run the experiments, attempting to ensure stability. Each experiment can be accessed from Limbo, a purple location that serves as a hub. We learned from the final video that the experiments are not intended to be traps. Rather, their purpose is to protect the souls that have been infected by the disease. The souls inhabit vessels. The endless loops provide a safe haven, ensuring that the people are not completely lost. However, this protection comes at a cost. Vessels are not free to think for themselves. While safe, they are unable to escape their infinite loops. They are trapped. This all changes when Andrew becomes aware that he is in a loop. This allows him to observe the loop from the outside, watching as Matthew continues his repetitions. But Andrew was clearly not supposed to do this. The world around him quickly begins to decay, with the loop unable to continue as expected. This includes the disappearance of Matthew's vessel. Andrew's ability to think leads him to find other players in other loops, including Zyphoid and Serene Mist. His arrival breaks their loop as well, and they join him on the adventure. Andrew spreads his sentience to others. But all of this represents a problem for the Keepers. They want vessels to remain safely in their associated experiments. The execs realize that Andrew is becoming sentient and they attempt to prevent this from happening, locking worlds and spying on him using cameras. They eventually send him to Disposal, a place intended to isolate him from the experiments. However, one exec is different. Exec 05 is Thomas, and he knew Andrew and Matthew before the disease hit. Thomas saves Andrew from the disposal and gives him instructions on how to free Matthew from his loop. Guided by Thomas, the players jump off the edge of Limbo and land in Abgrund, the Abyss. This place is extremely dark. They wander for a while until they find a mysterious door, which Andrew enters. This takes him to a place called Grinzen. Here, Andrew sees structures from his Minecraft server appear. His house, a castle, and so on. Back in Abgrund, Serene and Matthew meet Exec 111, a previous employee of Architect. He sends the players to a place where they can more safely enter Grinzen. Serene and Matthew eventually find this place, and they jump into a pit to teleport. It is revealed that Grinzen contains many different rooms. Each person seems to end up in their own. Matthew's Grinzen room is similar to Andrew's, but not exactly the same. Thomas breaks into Matthew's room, and they jump off the edge to escape, leaving Serene Mist behind. Matthew, Andrew, and Thomas all end up in a place called the Garden. Each of the flowers here represents a vessel somewhere within the multiverse, and the tree in the center provides life to them. Architect appears, but he is destroyed when Andrew questions his power. The players then meet Jacinth, the caretaker of the concept. She explains how her vision of peace for the vessels has proved to be impossible. Andrew decides to sacrifice himself in order to destroy the concept and let the souls of the infected rest. The decade ends as we watch the concept begin to disintegrate. Now that we've seen the whole series, we can think more about how to interpret it. Let's talk more about the concept. Each experiment is a looping world containing a brief snapshot of a specific window of time. It seems as though these snapshots evolve and morph into new versions. At one point, we see the same characters in a different experiment. However, this situation is inherently unstable. Vessels have a tendency to break out of their loops and begin to think for themselves. While Andrew gets the furthest, it is unlikely that he is the first to ever do this. The execs have a lot of infrastructure in place to handle this situation, including cameras in the experiments and disposal, a place to put sentient vessels. But Andrew is different because the execs struggle to control him once he gains sentience. The reason for this is that he has Thomas as an exec helping him on the inside. The Keepers become increasingly concerned by Andrew's uncanny ability to escape their clutches, but Architect proves incapable of slowing him down. As Andrew grows increasingly sentient, he realizes that being trapped in a loop is torture, the same idea he discusses in his poem. In his mind, the vessels in the experiment are not actually free at all. Their infinite looping is a fate worse than death. This motivates him to destroy the concept and let the souls rest. He sacrifices himself in the process. We don't really know how this works or why a sacrifice is necessary to destroy the concept, and I think the deeper implications of what Andrew has done are not quite clear. Vessels are capable of becoming sentient. Why is it better to kill them before they even have that opportunity? It's also worth noting Andrew's final line in the One of Those Days video. It is here that Andrew tells Matthew that he never once thought to leave him behind. And yet, this is exactly what Andrew ultimately does. He leaves his friends behind. Unfortunately, we don't know what happens to Thomas and Matthew. Let's take a step back for a moment and ask an important question. How are we even watching the events of the Decade? Who is uploading videos to this channel? We can look to the descriptions for clues. The uploader is unlikely to be Matthew or Andrew, as descriptions contain quotations of them. It's probably not Jacinth either, as she's referenced in the third person. Sometimes, descriptions talk to the viewer directly, such as a message to use command to keep watching. As this conflicts with Architect's words in the video itself, we can say that Architect is not the uploader either. Some descriptions have quotations taken from conversations either by execs or keepers, where they discuss the current situation with Andrew. This indicates that the uploader has access to internal keeper discussions, but they've also somehow acquired gameplay recordings of the vessels, something that even the execs don't have, as evidenced by their need for cameras. Then there's the issue of the video that seems to take place in real life. To be honest, I'm not sure if there's any character we've seen that would have access to all of this information. The channel's owner appears to be an unresolved mystery. There are some smaller details that I find odd. In the Limbo video, why does the painting in the house change to the purple flowers, seemingly guiding Andrew to the edge of the world? In the next video, why are 4 purple flowers placed into Andrew's inventory? Surely these two events are somehow related. Who is doing this? Well, one option is that it's Jacinth. In fact, her name is actually a type of purple flower, known more commonly as hyacinth in English. She is the one who created the garden, with flowers representing vessels. Things get more interesting when we look at the mythology surrounding this flower. There's a Greek myth involving the sun god Apollo and a beautiful young man named Hyacinthus. The two were very close to one another, and this made the wind god Zephyrus jealous. When Apollo threw a discus, Zephyrus blew it off course and caused it to strike and kill Hyacinthus. Apollo was devastated. Rather than let Hyacinthus go to the underworld to meet Hades, Apollo transformed him into a flower, allowing his beauty to remain on Earth. This is actually very similar to what the Jacinth character does in The Decade. Each flower in the garden represents a soul trapped in the concept. Jacinth has preserved them, but at a cost. The souls are not free to die and move on to the afterlife. Speaking of which, references to death and the afterlife are a recurring motif within the series. Thomas describes vessels as ghosts, and Andrew says that these looping experiments are like hell. Furthermore, Limbo is a reference to the first circle of hell as described in Dante's Inferno. This place has virtuous non-Christians and the unbaptized. Dante describes the location as a shadowy meadow. It is calm and peaceful, but the souls are forever blocked from the presence of God. Something that I don't quite understand is the purpose of Grinzen. Why is there a place that has buildings from the vessel's original worlds? These buildings are typically from a future point in time than the loops. We do know that buildings can hold some type of special power. Andrew's path towards sentience is accelerated when he finds the real house. It's so important that it's shown at the end of several videos. Despite this, I've yet to find a cohesive explanation that ties all this together. Speaking of the real house, it's still not totally clear why Thomas would destroy Matthew's diaries. The best theory I have is that he's trying to protect himself by ensuring that Architect can't discover that Thomas is personally connected to the anomalies. I also wonder about the fake Cargo, or Matthew, in the reality video. Is he being controlled by Architect, or is it somebody else? Interestingly, we do see a name tag in the distance earlier in the video. Overall, it feels like I'm circling around a cohesive interpretation for this series, but I'm not quite there. And that's why I need your help. Let me know in the comments what you thought of The Decade. What does it mean? How do all of these puzzle pieces fit together? I'm really excited to see your interpretations. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and subscribe. And if you want to support me further, join as a channel.